World of Warcraft PvP was on life support. Queue times were brutal, the player base was shrinking, and the same handful of names dominated the ladder season after season. If you weren't already in the inner circle, good luck even getting a game. New players were bouncing off, veterans were burning out, and ranked PvP felt like it was quietly fading away. Then Blizzard dropped Solo Shuffle, a six-player free-for-all experiment that seemed almost too simple to work. But it didn't just work, it reignited interest in ranked PvP almost overnight. Players who hadn't touched Arena in years were suddenly logging in daily, climbing rating, and talking about PvP again. Today, I'm going to break down how Solo Shuffle gave competitive WoW a second life, why it hits so hard with players, and what Blizzard needs to do to make sure it stays at the center of the PvP experience. Before Solo Shuffle, ranked PvP meant one thing: Arena. That could be 2v2 or 3v3, but either way, you needed a stable team. And that's where most people hit their first wall. If your partners weren't online, you weren't playing. If they quit the game, your climb was over. Finding new partners wasn't much better. The LFG tool was a mess of rejections and requirements. Everyone wanted Link 2.4K achievement before even considering you. For new or returning players, it was demoralizing. You could spend more time getting declined in Group Finder than actually playing the game. Even for experienced players, the format had grown stale. The same meta comps ruled every season, and if your class didn't fit into one of them, you were basically signing up to lose. It was a rigid, closed-off environment that rewarded only those who were already in it, and slowly but surely, people started walking away. Then came Solo Shuffle. At first, it wasn't even a serious competitive mode. It was a rotating brawl Blizzard tossed into Shadowlands as a side activity. But the concept was different. 6 players, random teams every round, short matches, and no pre-made groups. You just hit the Q button and played. The magic of that setup was instant. You didn't have to beg friends to log in. You didn't have to find a perfectly meta partner. Every round mixed the teams up, so a bad composition didn't doom you from the start. And because the matches were so quick, there was always another chance to turn things around. The response was huge. Players who hadn't set foot in Arena for years were suddenly queuing every night. For the first time in a long time, ranked PvP felt open to everyone. What makes Solo Shuffle so effective is how completely it tears down the walls that kept people out of competitive PvP. There's no gatekeeping. No more having to prove past titles just to get a game. You play when you want, as much or as little as you want, without worrying about syncing schedules. It's also far less about chasing a rigid meta, because the teams are constantly shifting. You're not locked into one specific comp. You learn to adapt, to play the hand you're dealt each round, and that makes for far more dynamic gameplay. And if you make a mistake, you've got multiple rounds to recover instead of one loss ending your night. That accessibility brought in new blood. BG players, casuals, even PvE mains curious to test their skills. For the first time in years, anyone could step into ranked PvP without feeling like they were crashing a private party. The mode didn't just change how we played, it changed the tone of the community. Suddenly, the ladder wasn't just the same familiar names. New players were climbing, and the scene felt fresh again. Streamers had endless variety to show off, different comps, different teammates, different matchups every game. Even healers got a spotlight, and not just because queues slowed down without them. People started discussing healer balance, healer rewards, and the overall role they play in the mode. It sparked conversations Blizzard couldn't ignore, and for once, PvP felt like it was part of the broader WoW discussion again, not just a side hobby for a handful of diehards. At its core, Solo Shuffle is fun because it's pure, unfiltered gameplay. Every round feels like a new puzzle. You might be fighting alongside the player you just faced, or facing off against the healer who saved your life in the last round. It's unpredictable in the best way. You're constantly adapting, constantly learning, and the format rewards personal performance. Win more rounds than you lose, and you climb. It's you versus your own skill level, not you versus whether or not your partner remembered to log in. That's liberating, and it keeps people queuing. Of course, it's not perfect. DPS players can sometimes wait a long time for matches because healers are in short supply. MMR swings can feel harsh, especially for healers who might lose rating despite playing well. Toxicity hasn't disappeared. Players still flame and say or through whispers. And outside of titles and amount, the rewards can feel thin once you've hit your seasonal goal. If Blizzard wants Solo Shuffle to keep thriving, they need to invest in it like it's the flagship mode it deserves to be. That means adding more unique rewards, animated spell effects, special frames, seasonal cosmetics you can only get here. It means smoothing out matchmaking, so rating gains and losses feel fair. We need better incentives for healers to queue. Maybe extra rewards or priority in cosmetic unlocks. Even adding deeper post-match stats could go a long way in helping players learn and improve. Solo Shuffle has already done something nothing else could. It made ranked PvP feel alive again. It opened the door for players who never thought they'd compete, while giving veterans a reason to log back in. It took a closed-off, dwindling scene and turned it into something approachable, exciting, and full of life. Solo Shuffle didn't just save WoW PvP. It brought back the heart of what makes it so addictive. The clutch plays, the last-second saves, the thrill of climbing the ladder on your own terms. It's all here, and it's never been more accessible. The real question is, will Blizzard keep building on this momentum and listen to the community, or will Solo Shuffle end up as just another great idea lost to time? For now, I'm still in the queue, chasing that next win, and I hope I run into you on the battlefield. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more WoW PvP content, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next upload.